Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at the SUNGLIFE 500 watt portable generator. Hey everybody, welcome back. So the ability to have power in an emergency is certainly a game changer for most preppers. If you need power in an emergency or you have medical devices that run on commercial power, you need to plan for it. Now, since back when I first started preparing, solar and power backup has come a long way. Back then you kind of had to make your own backup, which isn't all that difficult, but you had to hope it worked to meet your needs. Now you can go online, buy whatever power backup source you need, as well as a solar panel, and you're pretty much good to go. Now, these are not cheap by any means of the, I normally focus on budget items. However, I will say this is the most inexpensive item with the most features that I could find on Amazon in this class of things, in this type of thing. This is the SUNGLIFE portable power station, and it's got a ton of features which we're going to get into. I'm going to take it outside, we're going to test it, we're going to try a bunch of stuff in it. So if you're running sensitive electronics or medical gear, this is definitely the unit for you because it comes with a pure sine wave inverter instead of a modified sine wave, so it's much more conducive to running fine precision electronics on it, and we'll get into that in a bit. But basically, it's a better inverter to run your power ports in front here. Now, the going rate for solar in these type of inverters is a little bit over $1 per watt hour. So this one's pretty much right on the money. It's 280 watt, and it costs $299. Again, something like this isn't a whole house solution, so you think, wow, that's great. For 300 bucks, I can power my whole house. Well, it's not going to work that way. This power generator is designed to keep you powered up in a worst case scenario, power outage, any kind of emergency, while camping alongside of the road, if you're broken down, whatever. That's what this is for. So when that happens, you kind of have to adapt a survival mindset and use only essential items when you're trying to power things up. So let's get into the specs of the unit. Alright, so first off, like I mentioned before, it's 280 watt hour, 78,000 milliamp hour power station. We can compare that to, say, those little handheld power, bricks that for your cell phone. Those are usually in the 10 to 15,000 milliwatt hour. This is 78,000 milliwatt hour. Weighs about 7.27 pounds. Got a nice, easy to carry handle. That's 3.3 kilograms for those of you on the metric system. It is a lithium-ion battery power supply. And again, like I said before, we have two plugs here for the 110 volt pure sine wave inverter. Runs two outlets. You have two regular USB outlets, actually three, I'm sorry, and one of the QC 3.0, the little faster charging outlets on the bottom. And you also on the bottom have outputs for 12 volts. So you can plug in anything here that's 12 volts and run it off of this power brick. On the back, you'll notice two cooling fans. They keep the unit nice and cool. Heat is a big killer of these, so if you live in an area that's very, very hot and you leave this in your car, your batteries are going to die a lot quicker. You'll notice you have a 12 volt input, an on and off button for these lights, and we will test the lights as well. So this is a fairly lightweight and compact unit that you can take around pretty much anywhere and take it camping, car camping, whatever. You can use it in your home. This is an excellent solution for somebody that lives in a small apartment or maybe a high-rise where generator doesn't make sense, but something like this would. If you have a terrace or a balcony, you can put your solar panel out. I've even in the past put solar panels in windows, and they're fairly effective that way if you face it the right way. So something like this for a apartment dweller, really cool item, really great way to have a lot of power backup at your fingertips at any given time. Now you've got three charging modes with this. You can recharge from the sun in the back here by connecting a panel. And I do have a panel. We are going to test that out. You can plug it into the wall, and it comes with a wall adapter. We'll get into the accessories in a second. Again, you'd plug that into that 12 volt port and plug it into the wall. Okay? You can recharge it from your car. Now, the adapter takes about 13 hours to recharge from your car. Okay? But if you're driving a long distance somewhere, and to say this is at 50%, and you want to plug that into your car adapter and plug it into your cigarette lighter plug, you'll top it off or charge it up in that time. So it's definitely got a bunch of uses and a bunch of ways to charge it, which is really cool. Now, it doesn't come with a solar panel, and I wouldn't recommend anything really specialized for it. I find that some of those panels that fold up, the 100 watt fold up panels and stuff, they're way crazy priced. I mean, they're like $300-400, when an average solar panel, again, is around $1 a watt. I have a 35-watt one. It's going to take a little bit longer to charge with a smaller panel, but it'll definitely work. And it's just a monocrystalline panel. Actually, it's a polycrystalline panel. And it seems to do the job with my other solar charger, so we're going to test it out with this one today. And I'm not going to sit there and wait for it to charge up 8 hours, but you get the point. It does take, from a 100-watt solar panel, it takes about 10 to 13 hours from a 100-watt solar panel. From a plug in the wall, it fully recharges in about 7 to 8 hours. So, you're definitely going to have a little bit of time charging it up, but it's got so much capacity inside that you really aren't going to worry about that too much. It'll power you through your basic needs, and remember, this is a basic need deal here. This isn't let's power up the refrigerator and the rest of the house, but it will get you through a power outage or something like that with your basic needs very easily in a day, and the next day you can charge it up. You can also use this while charging. Now, some of these solar chargers, some of these battery banks do not allow that. Once you plug a charger into them, you will not be able to use the front. This will allow you to do that. So, while you're drawing, you can also keep it topped off. Now, this item is also capable of charging up to 9 devices simultaneously. So, with a battery peak capacity of 288 watt-hours for smartphones and stuff like that, all your USB plugs and your 12-volt plugs, and you also have the 500-watt pure sine wave inverter for anything else you're going to plug in up here. Now I'm going to turn the unit on and give you a quick look. It has 2 on buttons. You have to remember this. If you're going to use the AC outputs, you're going to turn that on. And yes, it is fully charged up. Now, some people will complain that this doesn't have a pretty little battery display and all that. That eats power. These don't. LEDs don't eat a lot of power. They look cool, they look really nice, and they give you a ton of information, but you can hook up a battery monitor to this just as easily and not have to worry about that. Now, let's say you want to also use your 12-volt and your USB plugs down here. There's a second power switch. Let me bring that up to the camera and show you. And you're going to turn that on right there. You can use both simultaneously at the same time without any kind of problems whatsoever. So that's how you turn it on and off. Pretty simple. Let's test out the lights really quick. I'm going to turn off the lights. I'm going to test out the light. The reason I like lights on a device like this, I may keep this device right next to me on the floor in my computer room. When the power goes out, I'm going to grab for it. I know where it is. I'm going to grab for it first. With the lights on it, it can help me get things set up. Where did I put my little USB light? Where did I put this? I need to charge my phone. It can turn this on, and I can look around and see what I need to see. So I kind of like the fact that there's lights on it. Very handy little, as you can tell, it's got modes. We'll get into the modes in a second. Very handy little device. So let's test it out with the lights off and see what kind of light we get from it. Now, I do have one light bulb on in my entire garage here, so that's why I just show a little bit of light. But we are going to test it out. You're going to be able to see how well this works. Because I think these are really a nice feature, and they're pretty bright, too. That is your low. I'm sorry, that's your high, that's your low. And then you have the flasher for an SOS. So let's test it against the wall and see how that works out. Alright, so now we're in complete darkness. Let's try it out. There's your high. That is a pretty darn bright beam. There's your low. And of course your flasher. But we'll keep it on the high, just so you get an idea. This is a very handy thing to have on an emergency device. Immediately you have a flashlight in your hand, you can start looking for stuff. Oh, there's my gas can, there's my water, there's this, oh, I got to plug this in, and you're ready to go. So it's an emergency device to have a flashlight on, I think is really awesome. So let's get this outside, plug in some stuff, test it out, and see how it works. Alright, so before we start testing it out, charging things, and trying out the plugs, I wanted to show you the accessories this comes with. The first thing it comes with is a whole bunch of adapters for your 12-volt plugs. You will get this wire here that allows you to plug into any of these ports and use any of these adapters to run a 12-volt item. This could be lights, whatever. So, all these different types, you're all set no matter what. Second up, your wall charger. Now this will come unplugged. So let me show you what it comes like. And it may seem a little confusing if you're not used to this stuff. This plugs in here, plug that in there, turn the unit around, and you will plug it into this port here. And that will charge it from the wall very easily. Lastly, your 12-volt car cigarette lighter adapter here. Same thing, plug it in here, plug it into your car adapter, and you're good to go. And it's charging. This is also where we'll be plugging in our solar panel to test it out. So, before we plug in our solar panel, I want to test some things on it. So let me get some stuff here on the table, and we'll put a load on it and see how well it performs. Alright, so I've got a bunch of devices up here that I'm going to charge up. I got a flashlight, I've got my tablet, a 18650 battery, and of course a big power bank. I think this is a 20,000 milliamp power bank. So what we're going to do is plug all this in, see how well it works. And don't forget, when you're going to just use these, you're going to turn that on. So the first thing we'll do is plug in the battery. Alright. Turn that on. And I can see the red lights on there. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it is charging that. Now, we're going to plug in our power brick right here. Okay, and that is charging. I don't know if you can see the white lights on that. It's a nice bright day today, of course. I was kind of hoping it was going to be a little overcast so I could show you. Here we go here. And this is, of course, the Olight Baton 2. And I know you can't see that because I can't even see it, but it is red. It is charging it up. So we have all these devices running, and so far no problems, no overload. One last thing here that I did forget. I want to put this guy in here on the 3.0 outlet, because I know this does fast charging. And charge it up. There we go. So all these items are charging here. Now an average power bank similar to this probably couldn't handle all these different items. So I've got 4 items charging here. Now we're going to try one of my studio lights. Let's see how much it can tolerate. Turn on the top. It beeps when you turn. Now these plugs are a little interesting. You kind of have to rock them in. If you notice, they're kind of unusual and they have like a guard on them. So let's rock that in there. It plugs right in. And I turn that on. And that's going. You can see the light. Alright, we're going to clip that over here, just so you can see everything continuously running here. Hopefully I won't bump my camera. You remember this fan from a few videos ago. Plug it in. And start up the fan. So we're not even putting a dent in this thing yet. Okay? So if it's a hot day, I can keep cool while charging all these devices, and if it's dark, I have this obnoxiously bright light to keep my lights going. And we're still at 100%, of course. I did top it off before the video, but it came at 80%, so really can't complain. All right, let me show you how the solar panel works. All right, so you can see off in the side there, that way, there's my panel. That's by a company called New Power. I believe it's a 35-watt panel. Decent enough for my testing today. I may eventually upgrade it. But if you're thinking about portability, again, and I am, that's probably big enough for what you're going to be doing camping-wise, or even in a bug-out situation. It'll still fit in your vehicle. It's not a huge panel. You can even stick it on top of your vehicle, not drive with it unless it's secured, but stick it up on top there and let the battery bank charge. So, I have the light over on this side here. You can't see it yet. I'll move the camera. I did put a 5.5 millimeter adapter plug on there, so I want to show you that. This is the plug, and I just wired the panel up with some cable all the way up. So I have the generator on right now, and the light is plugged in. Okay, so let's move the camera and show you what it looks like with the light on. All right, so I'm going to plug the panel in here, and we'll just spin it around the back. Plug in my panel. There we go. Now you'll notice the light up here is blinking. Whoops, I'm stepping on the cord. You'll notice the light up here is blinking, meaning that it's charging. When that blinks, that's telling me there's power going into this bank. Maybe it's at 99%. Now I have it charging up to 100 with that in there. So, let me turn on the light to show you that it will work. Even when charging, as you can see the light is on now. And you can use anything here, as long as you don't go over your 500 watts for your 2 pure sine wave inverters and your 288 down here, and your 12 volt. You can go over anything, you can do anything there from those 2 ports and keep it working while it's charging. So it is kind of handy to have it charging. And I will put a link down below to that panel that I showed you. It's over that way. I'll put a link down below of that panel. I recommend that panel because it's sort of compact, it's carryable, but it's not enormous, and it won't get in your way if you have to bug out with it or carry with it to a tent or carry it to some kind of bug out location. Pretty simple to carry. Small, compact, does a really good job, and it's pretty efficient too. So it's charging up here. We're going to bring it back inside, and I'm going to let you know some final thoughts on it and some final information on it. One of the nice things about this is you don't need to worry about a charge control. This has a built-in battery management system. So it improves battery utilization not only when you're using it, does it optimize, but also when you are using a solar panel. So you don't need to worry about the additional expense of sticking a charge control between this unit and your solar panel. This unit has a built-in one, and when it's fully full, it will shut off completely, and you won't have to worry about the batteries getting overcharged. So that's kind of a cool plus on this one. So let's take it inside. I'll give you some final information on it, and tell you where you can pick one up. So, what do I think about it so far? So far, I think it's a winner. You're going to be seeing more of this in my videos. We're going to be using it out here. One of the nice parts is I do need to get an adapter that will go from this to an actual 12-volt plug. I don't have one of those, and I have a lot of stuff that plugs into the cigarette lighter type adapters, so definitely want to pick that up for it. But you're definitely going to be seeing this more in my videos. I'm going to be making a few more on it, testing it out, doing other stuff with it. I like the fact that it can power my studio lights, so if I ever had to do a video in here and the power was out, you guys could still get a video from me. Of course, I couldn't upload it very well, but that's when I take it to my modem and plug the modem into that and upload it. So definitely a cool item. Definitely within a budget prepper's price range at $300. Some of these, God, I saw one from Harden Power Systems the other day that was over $1,000, and it had 300 watts. Now, yeah, it looks cool. It's got a bunch of little LCD displays. It's in this, metal container. But, I mean, if you're on a budget, stuff like that is kind of way, way out of your budget. And I do plan on picking up a little bit of a more powerful panel for it. It definitely works with the 35-watt panel. But I probably want to pick a 50 or maybe even 100 up and have that for any kind of emergency situation, or camping, or anything. Now, with this, too, you can also stick that panel outside of your house and keep this charged up, during any kind of power outage. And for you folks in California that are watching this, something like this for $300 is a heck of a way to stay nice and powered up during emergencies and any kind of power outage when they do these rolling blackouts, whatever they're calling them for the fires. Definitely a handy, inexpensive way to do it, as opposed to building your own, especially if you're not familiar with electrical wiring and 12-volt current and all that. If you're not familiar with that stuff, now I've built my own power backup boxes for years, and you can learn how to do it, but if you're in a situation where you want something right away that's going to be affordable, that's built very well, I got to say the construction of this is really nice. There's not any kind of junk or cracked plastic, anything rolling around. It feels nice in your hand. This is definitely a cool thing to pick up. So that's my opinion on it. This is all the stuff it comes with. We showed you all this outside, but still definitely a cool item, handy item to have around, especially for preppers. And remember too that prepping isn't always about the end of the world. Sometimes prepping is you're ready for a power outage. You're ready for a bad storm to blow in, and you've got, something like this to keep the power on in your house. And again, it's not a whole house solution. You can't wire this to your box outside. I know people think, oh, it's power. That means I can power everything. You kind of have to be conservative in your usage. As long as it's under 500 watts, you'll be fine. Easily enough to power any kind of LCD TV, any kind of small refrigerator, those little dorm refrigerators, I call them. Probably would even power my ice maker. I believe that's 250 watts. So, something like this is definitely a lifesaver in an emergency situation. To have it with you, to have some power, especially if you use medical devices like CPAP or anything like that. Something like that really can save your life. Any kind of oxygen generators that need to be charged up. I know they make those portable oxygen generators. I think they're made by Imogen. I forget. I see the TV commercial all the time. So something like that, definitely cool. I will put a link down below, and like I said, this is $299.99, so $300. Probably the most feature-rich, affordable, portable power station that I have found out there that can accept a solar panel and do a decent job. Definitely a cool item, so check it out. I will put a link down below where you can check this out directly. Underneath that will be my Amazon store. Even if you're not buying anything in the store, just click the link and shop on Amazon as you normally would. It really helps out the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. It just helps us out, bring cool stuff like this to you. And don't forget to check out our Thrive Life link and our Olight link down below if you want to check out some freeze-dried food or some really cool flashlights. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching today. Hope you have a great day. Stay safe and stay prepared.